Former President Jacob Zuma is adamant he should not be held personally liable for his legal fees. He has filed an application for leave to appeal a personal cost order against him. In the court papers, Zuma argues the court erred when handing down its judgment. The case relates to his decision to challenge the remedial action in the State of Capture report. For more on this, eNCA reporter Erin Bates is joining us. Well, I guess what the court has said is that he's okay. He can challenge, whatever judgment for. If he wants to do that, but he must pay for that.
Well, what's so interesting, Rio, is that this argument by the former president comes the same week we saw that judgment about personal costs in his criminal matters, that the state should not bankroll them, and basically voiding the agreement the current President Cyril Ramaphosa had discussed in Parliament earlier this year. But the papers that have been filed that are fresh, hot off the press, I've literally just printed them out, and that seem to have been hurriedly filed at the Supreme Court of Appeal right at the end of the court calendar year, challenged this personal costs order against him over his challenge of the remedial action in the Public Protector's State of Capture report. Now, judgment on that was handed down on the 13th of December 2017. And the court said, one, that he was wrong, ill-advised and irrational to challenge the remedial action in that report. He's argued he had the right to question constitutionality over whether or not the public protector could direct him to get someone else to appoint a commission of inquiry. And following that judgment, the court said he should pay in his personal capacity for bringing this matter before the court to begin with. And now we have him saying, no, I shouldn't pay in my personal capacity for challenging that. I was concerned about key constitutional questions, and I now want to challenge this order that I must pay out of my own pockets.
What could have prompted this, I guess, is the question. Was it this week's ruling, or, as far as you know, were there grounds even before this week's court's ruling for him to do what he's doing now?
Well, this matter has had a long genesis dating back to last December and also through the course of this year, because Ramaphosa withdrew a presidential challenge of that costs order which Zuma had made after the judgment of 17 December 2017. So when the new president came in, he basically said, we're not interested in pursuing this case anymore, at which point Zuma then, as the former president, launched a challenge in the High Court, which was battered down just a few months ago, if not a month ago. So there is certainly a long genesis to this case. I doubt that the judgment this week on his criminal prosecution and the state paying for that really has much bearing on this. But what it does speak to is a kind of indefatigable attitude and appetite for litigation on the part of the former president, even when we've just had a case which has decided that the state will not pay for his criminal litigation.
Well, I mean, that's exactly why I'm asking this question. It's whether he would have done this regardless of what happened this week.
I mean, that's sort of veering into the realm of conjecture, but I think based on the facts, based on a pattern of behavior we've seen by the former president and his various legal teams. I'm saying
even if he had already made up his mind, for argument's sake, that he was going to do this, on the back of what has just happened, maybe someone else would have said, oops, maybe
someone else indeed.
Go ahead.
But that's not the kind of person we're dealing with here. We're dealing with someone who's adamant that they were in their right mind and had been well advised to challenge the remedial action in the Public Protector's State of Capture report. The former president has repeatedly said he's concerned over the separation of powers. He's concerned about the public protector effectively outsourcing his authority to appoint a commission of inquiry and who should head it up to the Chief Justice Mogoeng. I mean, a lot of this is now water under the bridge, because, of course, he did announce the Commission of Inquiry in January, and we did then have Mogoeng appointing Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. So that's all, passed through already. But he insists in these very papers the same argument he's made before, that she was wrong to do so. The court was wrong to then punish him with a personal costs order for challenging that and really interrogating critical constitutional questions about the separation of powers, and that he's not willing to pay in his personal capacity.